Good morning, grade 10 students. Today our lesson is about infectious diseases, section 35.1. Open your books on page 1010. The objectives of this section is to determine the causes of infectious diseases and to specify how our infectious diseases spread. For thousands of years, people believed that diseases were caused due to curses, evil spirits, or dead animals and plants. That was proven to be totally not true. Infectious diseases occur when microorganisms cause physiological changes that disrupt normal body functions. Infectious diseases can be caused by microorganisms such as viruses, bacteria, fungi, and parasites. Except for parasites, these diseases caused by microorganisms are called pathogens. Robert Koch is a German physician who established a postulate that was published in 1980. It's a four-step postulate that shows the relationship between a pathogen and a disease. Koch's studies with bacteria made him develop rules to identify the microorganisms causing the disease. Rule number 1: pathogens are found in sick rather than a healthy organism. Pathogens must be isolated and grown in the lab in pure culture. Pure culture are usually grown in petri dishes or culture plates, as shown in the below picture. Rule number 3 in Koch's postulate said that the cultured pathogen, if introduced to a healthy host, should cause the same disease that infected the original host. And rule number 4 says that the injected pathogen, when isolated from the second host, will be identical to the original pathogen. To help you understand more Koch's postulate, this is an example of it. There are two types of mice in this figure, a healthy one and a diseased one. In the diseased mouse, a suspected pathogen should be found, while none should be in the healthy mouse. This is rule number 1 in Koch's postulate. Now, we take a blood sample from the two mice and grow it in the lab in a culture. This is rule number 2 in Koch's postulate. Then, we take the cultured pathogen and we introduce it to a healthy mouse. That is Koch's fourth postulate. In the end, the healthy mouse will develop the disease of the original infected mouse. That was rule number 4. What are symbionts and what's the difference between them and pathogens? Symbionts are microorganisms that are either harmless or beneficial. For example, bacteria in the mouth and the throat cause no trouble, and bacteria in the large intestine help with digestion and produce vitamins. However, pathogens are the bad microorganisms that can cause a disease. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are hearing from the social media and the TV about how to prevent and stop the spreading of COVID-19, or in other words, coronavirus, and what are the precautions and the measurements that should be taken. Because COVID-19 is a serious pathogen that is spreading from one human to another. In this part of the section, we will elaborate more on the ways pathogens spread. For example, number 1, coughing, sneezing, and physical contact. Number 2, exchange of body fluids. Number 3, contaminated water and food. And number 4, zoonosis, the animal connection. The first way for diseases or pathogens to be spread is by coughing, sneezing, and physical contact. Coughing and sneezing releases thousands of tiny droplets that can be inhaled and settle on objects that by touch can be transferred to the nose or the mouth of a person or a host. Example, the ability of COVID-19 or coronavirus to be transferred by touch, coughing, and sneezing. The first way to spread a pathogen or a disease is by coughing, sneezing, and physical contact. Coughing and sneezing releases thousands of tiny droplets that can be inhaled or settle on objects that can, through touch, be transferred to the nose and the mouth of the host. Example, the ability of COVID-19 to be transferred from one host to another. Hand washing, hand washing, hand washing. To avoid the transmission and to prevent the pathogens from spreading, frequent hand washing must be applied. Cover mouth when sneezing or coughing, then immediately wash your hands. If there are no tissues available next to you, the best way is to sneeze in your elbow. Coughs and sneezes spread diseases. Always carry tissues, cover your coughs and sneezes, throw used tissue in a bin, and always clean your hands. This is how you stop pathogens from spreading. A second way of spreading diseases is by exchange of body fluids. HIV, which is human immunodeficiency virus that leads to AIDS, or hepatitis, is transmitted through sexual contact or sharing needles. To avoid the transmission, use protection and never share needles. The third way is contaminated water or food. Contamination of water through feces or waste of humans, which can affect fruits and vegetables, carry pathogens to the host when ingested and can cause serious problems. Raw meat can also carry pathogens. Symptoms of the disease include serious diarrhea and sometimes vomiting. To avoid contamination, wash fruits and vegetables and cook food well and store properly in the refrigerator. The last way is zoonosis. It is a disease that is transferred from animals to humans. Example, mad cow disease, SARS, bird flu, and COVID-19. Vectors are the animals that transfer the disease to humans but are usually not affected. For example, the bats have transferred COVID-19 to humans. End of section 35.1. Thank you for your attention.